Welcome, everybody. You ever feel like your life is just too complicated? There's too much family drama going on. You don't know who you love sexually and who you're related to. Sometimes it's both.
Welcome to the attic.
It's VC's Pieces. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. I am Tia.
I'm Katie.
And here we are in the attic for another episode of VC's Pieces.
So today, oh goodness, friends, you know, you thought you had a shuddering climax. Woof. But they're still coming.
Oh yeah, they are. They are still coming.
They're coming hard and stuff. So we are wrapping up the Small and Danger series.
Small and Danger
the
series.
All in Banger series with Garden of Shadows, which is a prequel, and whoo woof, do I have feelings.
Same.
But I also, even before we dip our toes into it, this is not, once you read it, it's not a Dollanganger book. First of all,
It's a Foxworth book.
It's a Foxworth book. This is Dollanganger number 0.
Well, I mean, yeah, accurate.
Accurate.
Ground zero, if I will.
Oh.
No, I mean,
It is. Yep. Appropriate.
all I'm saying is,
Wow.
this is an inside job.
Jesus. Fuck.
Moving on.
So, if you don't want to read the book, here's what goes on. Per the back flap, Olivia dreamed of a sun-filled love, a happy life, and then she entered Foxworth Hall. V.C. Andrews' thrilling new novel spins a tale of dreadful secrets and dark forbidden passions, of the time before flowers in the attic began, long before terror flowered in the attic. Thin, spinsterish Olivia came to Virginia as Malcolm Foxworth's bride. At last, with her tall, handsome husband, she would find the joy she has waited for, longed for. But in the gloomy mansion filled with hidden rooms and festering desires, a stain of jealous obsession begins to spread. An evil that will threaten her children. 2 lovely boys and one very special, beautiful girl. For within one innocent child, a shocking secret lives. A secret that will taint the proud Foxworth name with taint and haunt all their lives forever. The wicked curse of the Dollanganger family begins in a Garden of Shadows. So, let me tell you. Hang on, give me like a sippy sip of my bubbly here. I have to lube my face hole up for this. I don't know. All right, So, of the time in my life where I had these V.C. Andrews pieces, they said the title right in the song. I had 1 through 4, and I staunchly refused to get this one because I am not a prequel kind of gal. I am not a prequel gal, and let me tell you why. So, I guess there was some program on the television, a program,
Wow.
with Hannibal Lecter as a young person.
Yes.
And I didn't watch it, but I read something that was like, oh, and there's like a sideways joke, like, oh, that's why he ate that person. No, I don't fucking like that. Because he's a villain, it's just scarier that he eats people. You don't need a reason. You don't need a reason why I don't need to know why the grandmother is evil. It's more fun for her to just be a villain. Just be a villain.
No, not for me. I want to know like the ins and outs.
Okay,
What happened to you?
Just be a villain. So was not into it, not at all, in the slightest. Because we did this for you and you, listener.
Dear listener.
I was like, let's do it. So I started with big ol', it was like eye roll. And then at like just a beginning, after like maybe a little bit, I was like, okay, girl. and then I was with it. I was with it right up until the end. And I was like, nope, fuck this. Done. So I went on a journey.
Yeah.
I went on a journey. I went on a journey emotionally with this one. And let's begin with Olivia. What was her main name? Was that anywhere?
Oh,
who cares?
It is.
Who gives a shit?
William.
Olivia. Meow meow. You know what? Too much time. Done. Delete.
Yeah, sorry.
So
They didn't mention it that many times.
Where do your notes begin? Because my notes begin with Olivia's mother dying.
Yep. So mom's dying words.
So I wrote.
Note.
This is in my notes app here because I'm pretty high tech.
Same.
It says garden, all caps. Holy fucking shit! Olivia's mother's dying words. OMG, old neglected plant.
And actually, I have the excerpt here. I took a photo of it. Well, first of all, much like Kathy talks about herself all the time in like a beautiful golden light, Olivia describes herself constantly in like a homely gray light.
Oh,
constantly.
Yeah, I love what you've done here with your analogy.
Yeah. She's just like, I don't know, I'm wicked fucking tall.
I'm a
linebacker.
Like garbage wallpaper.
But
like really bland garbage wallpaper.
And she's like, I'm not delicate. Which is like,
okay.
Great. So, we go here. In my fantasies, I was pretty, lighthearted, charming, like the other young women I met but never befriended. Aww. Mine was a lonely life filled mostly with books and dreams.
Same.
And although I did not talk about it, I clung to the small hope my dear mother had given me just before she died.
Quoth dear mother, upon her deathbed.
Life is very much like a garden, Olivia. And people are like tiny seeds, nurtured by love and friendship and caring. And if enough time and care is spent, they bloom into gorgeous flowers. And sometimes, even an old, neglected plant left in a yard gone to seed will unexpectedly burst into blossom. These are the most precious, the most cherished blossoms of all. You'll be that sort of flower, Olivia. It may take time, but your flowering will come.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, so like you're ugly, I guess, but maybe not someday. Thanks.
Neglected in the yard.
Old, neglected plant.
Like, what, is she like 14 or 16 or something at this time?
Something like that, 16. Burgeoning into her womanhood. Yeah. Now, this is, I feel like they talk about suffrage. So it must be around that time of, yep, that time. 1920 something, 18, 19, 20-ish.
20-somethings-ish.
20-something-ish. We are not good at American history.
It was in the 20s.
It was like the
It was in
Don't
the
come
20s.
for me. Don't come for me.
It was in the 20s.
I feel like it was not. So, and I'm kind of here for Olivia being like, you know what, fuck it. I am bucking the traditional role that all of these women and young ladies that I know, I'm going to be a business lady. Fuck them. I'm smart. I'm going to learn the business. I'm going to be a business lady. So that's when I was like, okay, girl.
Well, I took that as her dad was like, you're not pretty, so you should be useful. Learn business.
We just took two different thoughts on this. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. We haven't really discussed this
We
at
have
all,
not.
so.
We've been keeping it all inside.
Yep.
Much like incest.
Like, Paul keeps it all
I don't know why
inside.
I wrote still flaxen. Who was flaxen?
Who fucking knows?
Who's not?
Malcolm? Malcolm is flaxen? Everyone's flaxen?
Everyone's flaxen.
All the flaxen.
The Fluxworth.
The Flaxworths.
Flaccidity flaxen.
Ooh.
Okay, so yes. Okay, so I'm not there yet. I skipped ahead a little bit because her dad teaches her business. She's a business cool lady, and he's like, look, maybe a big bitch, but you're going to get my money, so you need to be smart about it, which I'm also into.
Yeah, her dad ruled.
Okay, different tax. No, that was good. He was like, you're set up, and I'm going to write my will so that whoever you marry is not going to get my money / our money.
Yeah, it's your money.
This is your money, you giantess. So She'll say, like, oh, father tried to, like, invite young men over for dinner, and they were like, woof on this one.
Like, as soon as she stood up, they were like, why does she keep going?
She's the big one. I wish they would say her height.
I thought she was like 6 foot. I thought it did. I thought she said she was 6 foot or 6'1" or something.
She was basically like she got kicked out of the WNBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
For being too short.
So again, as timeless as it is, they don't really talk. I want more detail. I could not make a very good picture of the grandmother Olivia. Again, I need to know what she's wearing. Not a V-neck. Is it that kind of 20s like boof, like a? I'm getting my eras mixed. I'm gonna stop talking. I'm embarrassing myself. I just had a hard time picturing her everyday clothes and fancy clothes.
Well, based on how people commented on her, like later, they were saying like she's looked too Victorian, like too like last century.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so maybe like that bit on the end there on the.
No, I don't think she was bustly because I think that would have been like, that also would have been like too much for her. She was just like, whatever. I don't know.
She was like
I have 3 dresses.
Up. She was like buttoned up.
Yep.
I
have 3 dresses. Sternum. That's it.
So until young Malcolm Foxworth comes to dinner.
Malcolm Neil Foxworth.
And that's why I wrote still flaxing, because he was flaxen haired. And I was like, oh, okay, everyone's still flaxen. Just flaxen for days. And like Big Woof, she said, it just, oh God. It's like, thing. No, it is like, so I wrote down the phrase, a plain Jane such as me.
Yeah.
I never thought he could pay such attention to a plain Jane such as me. Mm-hmm. Fucking A. Of all the cliches, like, that VC Andrews uses, she has a fucking Costco Sam's Club size bucket pallet case of cliches and just keeps spooning them out.
Yeah, that's true.
You never gotta run out. There's a lot in that bucket. Tub of cliches. It's the size of a bathtub. Plain Jane. Plop.
This episode brought to you by Tub of Cliches.
So, she's so plain. Oh, don't you know it? She's so plain, but he look at her.
Oh.
He show interest. And, also, before this dinner and the introduction, her dad's like, don't talk about the suffrage movement. And she was like, But then she had to, like, slip it in. And again, I was like, go girl.
Yeah, I did like that part. But, yeah. What I'm going to say now is that, like, Olivia's choices, moods, trajectories conflict in and of themselves a lot. So, like, that's hard because you have that part where you're like, oh, hell yeah. But then she acts other ways and you're like, you're not a feminist at all. Like, so, yeah.
Hey, maybe reflecting the time of the times. And I don't remember if it was this one. I think he's like, let me come to dinner again. And she's like, okay.
Yeah, he asked her if he could take her out. Because he went to dinner and then she was like...
Did he at that time be like, let us go for a walk? And she was like, never did I think I could walk with a man.
Yes, that was that same night.
Okay, that same night. Okay, the first date.
The first time. And then she's like, oh, they retired to talk about business and I'll just like sit here and pretend to be doing needlework. Oh, I saw couples walking by and I thought, I'd always like to walk. And then he came out and said, would you like to walk? And she was like, gasp.
Gasp.
And they talked and she was like, oh my God, this is so great.
I never thought a plain Jane such as me could
I'm so homely.
I'm so...
Steely Gray. Even, she says her complexion has a gray tinge to it. Yeah. Like a corpse. I don't know, man. But then, yeah, at the end, he's like, hey, let me take you out to dinner. And she was like, oh my God. I can't believe he wants to be seen in public with me. He's not ashamed because I'm so hideous.
Girl, get some therapy.
Yeah, that didn't exist.
That didn't exist. It barely exists now.
Yeah,
woof. So they have a dinner, and I feel like this is over the course of a fucking long weekend. He's like, well, we're going to get married.
Yeah, I think so.
It's something like that.
And then they went to church.
Then they went to church to try that out, and then he was like, let me ask your father for your hand. This is a business transaction. And the father was like, yes, but you will never get my money. But she has a good head on her shoulders for the things.
She will do your books and finance as well. And he's like,
she is not flighty. She's not flighty.
Yeah, because Malcolm goes through, like,
He runs through hoes.
But he like really needs Olivia to know, I like you because you ain't pretty.
You're so plain.
Because girls who are pretty, they're useless.
Schmorschmattowing. Like a nice little schmorschmatto on like a sourdough.
Delicious.
So it is very, and she like lingers to listen in to see if she's going to get married because she has no part in this. And then he's like, well, I'd like this buttoned up by the weekend if we could just... And there we go.
Yep.
So they're getting married. And she, I love when she squoezes herself into her tiny little mother's dress.
Oh, yeah.
And the seamstress is like, I'm just not sure about this. And she's like, you can go fuck yourself if you don't do this.
Yeah, she's like, I guess I should bring my business somewhere else. If you can't do it, I thought you were professional.
Yes, queen.
But also, she's like, you're like 12 feet taller than your mom. I don't know how to not make it look like I added 12 feet of fabric to the bottom of this dress. And she's like, oh, so you can't do it? I guess you suck. And then she's like, all right, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. So they do a wedding, and at the wedding, there's Olivia, Malcolm, her dad, and her little cousin John Anus.
You may remember
He's
from
a wizened old anus if he's like at the turn of the century. Well, he was born in 1900 because he's 18 in this.
Yeah, and Olivia's like 25.
No, I feel like she's like 22-ish. She's not 25. That would be super freaking old.
I thought that's why she was so old.
I feel like she's like 21, 22.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyway, so it's like as soon as they get married, she's like, I've never kissed him. And he was like, dry pack.
Yeah, because she keeps being like, oh my gosh, I've always
Then
kind of
he'll
wanted
love
love.
me.
It's going to be amazing. I want to live in sunlight and glory and all this stuff. And then she was like, I realized after we got engaged, like, he never
Is
said
affectionate with
anything
me.
about, he never said the L word at all. Oh no, what have I done?
What have I done? So they're not. So she has the big old stars in her eyes. So yeah. So they get in the carriage, the horse-drawn carriage,
The Courage.
the carriage, to go to his estate, Foxworth Hall.
Which he has explained, described as having somewhere between 30 and 40 rooms, which just kind of tickled me. That
I can't even count them.
you can, like, have your rooms off by 10. Like, that's a concept foreign to me. Very cool.
It's like plus or minus.
And then he was like, oh, there's plenty of room for guests to come visit. And Olivia's like, cool. And then he's like, ugh, but like Ben Franklin said, fishing guests tend to smell after 3 days.
She's like, so do we not have guests?
Yeah,
Or-
she was like, haha. And he's like, I'm not laughing. And she's like, oh, me neither.
Not
Was
sure.
it just so weird?
Not sure if we're gonna have guests. He's being fucking weird.
Yeah, there's so
we,
many
the reader,
strange-
are very confused by the situation, as are we always.
Yep. Not
So
wrong.
Plain Jane and Malcolm Neal are headed off to Ploxworth Plawl, and top it up. So she is getting no smoochers, no tendies, but she's ready. She is
She's
like
terrified, but she ready.
girl, she ready. And I feel like so they get to Foxworth Hall, and it's very like, hello servants, and he's like, we're gonna fuck this. We're gonna have no, not at that time. No, I'm getting my storylines. How could I get my storylines confused?
I don't know.
So they're servants.
They show up at like 3 in the morning. And they go to the same, like the one depot, like that is 2 planks of wood holding up a piece of tin
Yep.
can.
They had a driver though. They did have a driver. They did not traipse. They did not.
They didn't.
Malcolm
Of course they didn't.
Foxworth
No.
did not
There's
traipse.
nothing
in the
secretive
woods.
about this.
So the driver takes them, and so they go there, and she's like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, all right, here's your room. Peace. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, because she goes in and she's like, oh, like he must be getting ready to come in my room. Like, this room looks kind of slept. Oh, he means this is my room.
This is my room.
We don't have
A marital bed.
Our room. Okay.
He's like, don't come in my room.
And then she was like, but like maybe he doesn't want to like be in here when
Wants
the
to surprise
servants are
me.
awake. So like, I'm gonna take out this negligee, which has a V-neck, which we learn the doctors have
Warned against.
warned against because it can give you pneumonia. It's
And sluttiness, I think.
you will die of slutful pneumonia if you wear a V-neck. That was hilarious to me. She's like, oh no, your chest is exposed. You're gonna get the rickets and the vapors.
But never did he come.
Nope, she like went to bed being like, oh, am I gonna get boned?
She was waiting. She was waiting for his visit, and it didn't come. So then she goes down to Breckus, and was he there or did he leave already?
No, like she woke up and she was like, oh, she's like, I woke up to sunlight, which I thought was the shining of Malcolm's love for me, but it was just the sun. It's dramatic, Olivia. Okay. And then the
Sorry, I forgot about
and it's like later in the day because they slept in a little bit, and then one of the maids is in the room and she's like,
oh, Mr. Foxworth left
yeah,
already.
like, what do you want for breakfast? And
What do you want?
Like, hey, you were up.
Hey,
And
you up?
Olivia's like, yeah, is Mr. Foxworth arisen yet? And she was like, girl, he gone. Like, you won't have to work, you idiot.
Girl, he gone. You're new here. He had his dry oatmeal.
Yep.
He just eats dry oats like a horse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then I enjoyed that So she meets the servants, and they're like, all right, you're the new woman of the house. Like, what do you want us to do? What's the meal plan? And she's like, whatever Mr. Foxworth likes, I suppose. So she's, like, a little embarrassed, because she's like, I have no fucking idea what he likes to eat. But then she's like, I just decided to, like, be a bitch to cover that up.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out. You tell me what he likes. Eat it.
Yeah. We'll go along with whatever you're doing, and then I'll tweak it as I see fit. It's fucking smart, actually.
Yeah. Is that when she gets the name wrong?
Yeah. I don't have it to pull up, but
okay.
that's down.
It was like Mrs. Smith walked into the room and we talked about lamb chops.
And then Mrs. Steiner left. Yep.
the room.
Yeah, there's
so many.
It's
So
beyond.
this goes on. Olivia is getting her footing as the woman of the house with very cold Malcolm. He's very cold, and the sun-shining love was never brought upon her head.
Her gray drab.
Her drabness is still drab. And she's trying to be fucking cool about it. She's like, don't let the servants know that things aren't cool. And they have like an arrival party.
Nah, you're skipping ahead.
I'm skipping ahead?
Yep.
Okay, great. Of the event?
Yeah. Because that was like later that day. She was like, all right, well, I'll figure out. I'm going to walk around this house and
Check it out.
I'm going to check it out. Like, we walked by.
I need to know how many rooms between 30 and 40.
Yeah, maybe I'll count them. He made a joke about that. I guess maybe I will.
Yeah.
And so she's like, cool.
What's this locked room?
This locked room, he said it was his mom's. Like, oh, I feel so bad because his mom died when he was little, just like mine. And like, you know what? I'm going to go in and see if I can find...
We'll connect on that level.
Like, get to know her self by being in the room.
Hey, you know what's fun? Is that Malcolm's mom's name was Corinne.
Huh. Interesting. So she goes in and she's like, oh my God, was his mom a movie star? What is this? The mauve carpet is 4 inches thick at least.
That's a lot of carpet.
That is a lot of carpet.
I mean, for the time, people had a lot of carpet, if I can say that. So it's a thick pile. It's a thick pile.
And then she's like, oh my God, it's like everything is like pristine and it's like a...
She has diaphanous gowns and jewels and just things.
Everywhere. Perfumes.
Glamorous.
And the swan bed.
Rung, ding, pong.
And then she's like, I couldn't even help it. I just like wanted to lay back and think about like, be one with his mom. And then she hears, who told you could come in here?
He's cray-cray.
And it's Malcolm. And it's Malcolm.
And he's like, my mother was a whore. She left me and she's not dead. She's just a whore. Yep. And he's like, never come in here. And she was like, okay, girl, sorry. And I think the event we're talking about happens later, not in this room. No, it happens, okay.
Right at this time, because he's like...
At this moment.
Yeah, he's like flipping out and just being like, I'll tell you about my mom. I'll tell you about my mom. My mom was so pretty. Then she left me. She left me here with a thing to remember her and miss her. And then he just like manhandles all of Olivia's clothes off and rapes her.
It wasn't rape at the time. Marital rape was not a crime until just a few years ago.
She does refer to it later as like, our first time was literal rape. Like, that is a sentence.
Okay.
And she talks about his anger poured into her, and it felt scalding hot. Like she was like, I was worried it was gonna blow out the back of my kidneys.
Cheeks.
I don't know.
So, but he also definitely calls out his mother's name while fucking her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's a literal motherfucker.
Yeah, like one last shuddering, Corinne, and then he climbed off and just like left the room, and she was like,
Okay.
Cool, so that was romantic.
That was their first time. That was her first time.
Yep.
First time ever as a married couple, conceiving. Spoiler alert. So that's gross.
And then there's a party.
That's wicked gross. And then there's a party, and people are in like their like flapper gowns, and she's like, "Oh, immoral." And I knew Malcolm was going to be like, "Look at these immoral hussies," but he was like, "What is up, girls?"
Yeah, let's all hang out in my office. Please drape yourself across the table and call him Malk. Like talc. Malcolm
So yeah,
powder.
he. I don't like Malcolm Powder at all. I'm so upset. I'm so upset by Malcolm Powder.
Sorry.
He is such a smooth operating social butterfly. Loves it. Loves parties. Is gregarious and social and warm. And she's like, okay, like what the fuck, bitch? Like,
Yep.
who are you? And
Like, yeah, what's going on? Why are you being a dick to me and talking about how modern people suck when you're like such a flirt?
when you're doing like the Charleston and drinking like your bootleg alcohol.
And meanwhile, like, Olivia just keeps like getting side-eyed by all the ladies who are like, oh yeah, you're quite tall. Like,
Look at how old-timey you look.
and then she like hears them like talking about how she's a beast and stuff, which is kind of rude.
I look at my note as WTF with his motherfucking through Olivia. That was my note.
And then that night after the party, he comes in her room and says, I want a son, and just
does it.
does it. He's like, here.
I shot a son into you. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Woof. And we also are introduced, surprise, to Malk's Powder's dad.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Well, I was like, I wanted to touch on the fact that during Olivia's wanderings of the house, she goes to that room at the end of the North Wing, and she's like, this room was different. Like, there's all this dark furniture.
Oh my God.
And it's got his own bath. And direct quote, it seemed to be a room for hiding people.
No.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Oh God.
And that's when she goes up into the attic and she thinks like, oh, cool, like I'll get to know some things. Here's some portraits and stuff of some people. And like, oh my God, like bird cages. This will be so dope. Like we can have birds in the house. I miss this from when
This will be dope.
my mom was around. It's like so quiet here. It's going to be great. And then she notices a picture of Malcolm's mother, Corinne, on top of a dresser somewhere. But it like, everything is dusty except for this photo. So like, we're kind of led to believe that Malcolm
He goes up to
there and,
polish
like,
the picture, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he goes to polish her picture on the rig.
If I can say that.
And same
If you
thing-
understand where I'm going
What
with
exactly
this.
do you mean?
He masturbates
Oh.
furiously to his mother's photo.
Furiously.
Fucking furiously. To chafe.
You know, you're probably not wrong at all. But that's also
Lotion
what
hadn't been invented. It was like a lanolin.
it's just bacon grease.
Oh boy.
She notices the schoolroom and she's like, how practical.
That's a good idea.
Of course you'd want to school kids up in the attic because they're fucking loud and they suck. Weird.
So, surprise, surprise. Malcolm is not actually master of the house. His father is, because his father's still alive and manages the Foxworth fortune.
Garland,
whom I love.
Oh, I love
when he
Garland.
rolls in, he's like older man, like silver fox, he's like, I got shit bags of money. I am living life. I'm living, loving. I got a woman.
Oh, but Olivia has 2 kids by this time.
By the time Garland arrives?
Yeah, by the time he comes back.
All right, then okay.
She births Malcolm Jr., who they call Mal. Like
Okay.
malintent.
And then he's like, well, time for it. Then he was like, I want a daughter. Or is it just
another
like
son. Like he just wanted to do a kid and then he wanted a daughter later. But
Yeah.
he needed some older boys to take over the business things. So he just like shoots another one in
he
her
rage fucks her again.
mommies. He mommies her
He
vagina.
gives her the old mommy gine.
And then she like has kind of a challenging pregnancy.
She has a challenging pregnancy.
And her second son, Joel, is born a little bit premature. And then the doctor's like, hey, you probably can't do that. And then Malcolm's like, what the fuck, Olivia? This is your fault. You and the doctor were conspiring. And the doctor's like, yo, what? Like,
what? I thought that when we got married, we agreed.
We agreed to have a large family.
We agreed to have a large family. She's like, but I didn't know my shit was going to get shitty.
Yeah. Probably because of your rage fucking. Because you scalded my uterus with angry sperm.
Sorry, I don't like scalding my uterus. I feel that way inside.
Malcolm does not like Joel because Joel is kind of frail.
Yes.
And so he's like, ugh.
And
he shows no interest in the children.
And also, Team Olivia, and she's like, I love these boys so much, and I'm such a good mom, and I'm in there with them in their playroom all the fucking time. So here's the thing. Also, she's like sassy to the flappers because she's like, you know what? You may be pretty, but I'm fucking smart.
Yep.
Eat my dick hole. And then she's like, I love my babies, and this is it. So this is why in this book, you/me are like, okay, now we're Team Olivia.
Yeah.
She is in this marriage, in this time in history. She can't. There's no divorce. Divorce doesn't exist. She just has to make do. And she's like, fuck it, man. I'm just smart. I'm just gonna like be kind of a smarmy douche to the help.
Oh, that's true. They get noticed. They get she gets a telegram that her father has passed away, and then
of all the things that happen in this book,
so much, yeah. And then Malcolm, she's like, I gotta go to his funeral, and Malcolm's like, well, who's gonna watch the kids? And she's like, I gotta go to my father's funeral.
Can you hold this for like a day?
Like you and the maids,
the hell,
all the servants can watch the kids for it. He's like, no, your place should be in the house. And she's like, I gotta go to my dad's funeral. And then they like argue about it for so long that she misses the last train, has to go the next day, and like shows up like hours after the funeral.
John Anus tried to hold the body gently.
That was really sad though. That's so messed up. Her and her dad had a really good relationship.
But at least Malcolm's not gonna get his money.
Yeah. No, he left.
And he tries too.
Yeah, he's just like, I'd do a better job. And she's like, yeah, would you?
Would you? Yeah, she like amps up the sass at that point, which again, loving.
Yeah.
He's like, if only you let me invest it. And she was like, you go suck it.
Yeah, she's like, nah, maybe I would. Oh, maybe you would make more money. I don't care.
This is mine.
It doesn't matter.
So she's like, she's just living with her kiddos and like playing and just fucking loving them. And then like getting her jollies being a douche. Yeah. Also, me too, in this world.
Yeah.
Just hanging out with my kid and being a douche to get my jollies.
Yeah, she talks about how, like, when Malcolm's all pissed off, she, like, acts extra calm because it makes him madder. He doesn't know what to do if she's not yelling back at him. I do love that. She's like, He's like, turning purple and distorted with rage.
Like an angry cack. So Garland rolls up. They got two little boys, and Garland rolls up. Silver Fox, living life with his money, and he just travels and is he's relaxed and tan.
He's been in Europe for years.
Just bumming around.
Yep.
What a life to be. Also, beautiful young bride. Beautiful
and young. 19.
Like, just, you know what she is? Supple. If I can say that. She is supple. And so Malcolm's fucking pissed when Garland rolls up. He's like, I'm the man of the house, but if you're here, I can't be man of the house. Hello, bride. He gets like an instant heart on.
Yeah, 100%. And Olivia's like, why? How are you going to act like you hate pretty ladies, floozies, sign of the times, and then be like, sup, girl.
What's up, girl? And he is just warm and chatty at dinner.
And Alicia is freaking heavy with child. That's the way.
She's heavy with child.
She just like shows up, child bride with child.
Melon heavy. Breasts.
Heavy. Yep. Heaving bosoms.
Heaving.
Pregnant bosom.
Rigid bosom? Is that what you just
pregnant
said?
bosom.
Oh, I thought you said I was like, well, they're not rigid. She has a rigid
She's got
bosom.
the rigid concrete.
She
bosom.
has the mountains.
Twin peaks of concrete.
Yeah.
Yep. That's like an actual quote from
so anyways, we got in this like a titty side quest. But But there's a lot about how, like, Malcolm, he does not wish to eat dinner with his children. He's like, they're fucking gross. And they ask too many questions.
And Garland's like, that's
kids.
That's kids. What's wrong with you, dude? Like, you know what? You asked too many questions. That's why your mom left. And then Malcolm's like, how dare you?
And everyone's like, it's like Night at the Apollo. They all go, oh!
It's such a...
So
and
that's
meanwhile,
fun.
like, Olivia gets Alicia to the side, and she's like, so, you're young.
So you're
like,
young.
Garland is the...
Fucking old as shit, huh?
Like, the ancient age of 50... 53, like, you know, on his deathbed.
He's about to die,
He's
man.
so old. And,
Which at the time...
I mean, I guess, but still, it's really funny to read about someone like I'm gonna be 50 in 11 years.
That's just math.
That's just math. And she's like, and then Alicia's like, oh my god, no, I love him, because Olivia's like, oh, clearly this girl
This is
just
like a
she's in
gold
it-
diggy kind of
she's in it for the
situation.
money. But then you find out, no, actually,
You know, he was a
Garland-
friend. He was a friend of my father's. The family.
the family friend, and this gold bracelet I'm wearing, he gave me when I was 12. And the first time we kissed, I was 14, and I don't mean kissed, I mean like lovers.
She was groomed from
Groomed.
the start.
Yeah.
If you wish to know what grooming is, you should read this book. He would go there to the family and visit, like he did at the time, and take her for walks and treat her like an adult woman. That's fucking grooming.
And also, like, her dad had an accident, so he, like,
Stepped
set
in.
him up with some business thing where he sent clients to him because he was in a wheelchair, or he, like, couldn't stand for long or whatever, couldn't travel around that much.
yeah.
So it was like, oh, but because of Garland, our family wasn't poor. And he was always so kind to me. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't.
But she genuinely does, like, seem to not give a shit about his money. Like, yeah, he buys her stuff, but
So she's been groomed, but at least she's not a gold digger.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the end. So Mel and heavy breasts, and so she is like so good with the boys.
So good. She loves them. She loves children. Olivia's...
She is one.
Yeah, she's a child. Olivia's a little bit, like,
Right.
muffed a little bit. Miffed a little
She
bit.
has her muff on
She's got a muff on, probably, in the chillier
when
days.
it's cold.
Because, like, Alicia can, like, play with them, like... But then you're like, I was just led to believe for, like, 50 pages, 100 pages, that you were playing with your kids. And now you're
now
like...
you can't.
Like, what were you doing? You're just like, yes, very good.
You play with that ball and block. Yeah. So she births a child. Did she birth a child before Garland? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything from this book.
Christmas 3.
Okay, great information. So she births the birth of Christopher, who we know as the incest master. But you know what? Maybe he wasn't the incest master. Was Malcolm the one?
I have...
You have thoughts?
I'm gonna, once we get
We will
to a
circle
thing-
back. We will circle back around to
I
this.
will tell you, why
Your
I
whole
think that
theories.
certain things were said certain ways. Anyways.
Woo, woo, woo. So she births the boy.
Everyone's obsessed with
Everyone.
this lady.
I wrote, Chris is so perfect.
It's true, though.
He can do no wrong.
Sorry.
You go into your bullet point?
Yeah. While Alicia is pregnant, Olivia just keeps thinking, like, well, I hope she fucking falls down the stairs.
Oh my god.
Like, she's got these crazy miscarriage fantasies, but, like, insofar also as that, like, Alicia was asking about, like, the room at the end of the hall, and she was like, oh, yeah, it's really cool. It's like, go up to the attic, and she's like, well, we should go up there sometime. And she's like, oh, in your condition, I don't know. And then she's like, no, I'd love to. And so, like, Olivia goes ahead and, like, unscrews the light bulb.
So maybe she'll fall.
So then maybe she'll trip and fall in the dark. And then she's like, let me scurry down, and I'm just going to scurry
Slam
down
the door.
and, like, just be reading. And everyone will know I was down here reading, and that I told her, maybe you shouldn't go up there. Crazy.
So like what? I don't think there was ever any reason.
Because she didn't want
Babies?
the child to be a boy and to, like vie for, like, Malcolm's fortune. She was worried that Malcolm was going to be more of a dick.
Okay.
because there was like another sibling for him to contend with. And then she's like, ugh, can barely deal with how much of a dick he is right now. And it's crazy because then like they come home and they're like, where's Alicia? And she's like, oh my God, she's been in the attic for hours. I got so engrossed.
I hope she isn't dead.
I hope she didn't fall down. And then like she didn't. Meanwhile, she like has put on like Corinne.
Oh my God.
OG's like clothing. And
it's like, I'm
Malcolm's
Petey.
I
I know. He visibly throbs.
He's throbbing at her. Then
Yeah.
she has a perfect baby.
She has a perfect baby. He polishes the photo. She has a perfect baby. And it's perfect. And it's a boy. Oh, noes. So all the little boys grow up together. And they just fucking love each other like little kids do. Yeah. And it's pretty idyllic when they're on like the playroom nursery together. It's 3 boys and the 2 ladies. And Alicia teaches Joel the piano.
Yep. Both the kids, they have like
musical inclinations, and they're more gentle. Malcolm likes to be like, fuck off and learn money, kids.
Yeah, why are you such a fairy? You're such a sissy. You're like feminine. Musicians are effeminate.
Vagina havers.
You gotta want to have sex with your mom. Not this mom. Different mom.
And he's like,
my mom.
What's up, 4-year-old? Why don't you care about the stock market yet? And he's like, I'm fucking 4.
Yes, seriously.
I thought you would be interested in the family business.
And he's like, can I have a gummy bear?
Like, just Oreos are cool. That's the position I take.
And Olivia's just like, how the hell is Alicia and Garland, like, they can't really be that into each other. So she starts, like, spying on them.
She's
fucking.
lurking.
And then she's like, oh my God, they really do love each other.
Don't they move into the swan room?
Yes.
They move into the swan room.
Or Alicia takes the swan room. Like, because everyone needs to have their own friggin'...
Everyone needs to have their own room, because...
Because there's 30 or 40 of them, so.
We're not sure. So Malcolm, is like, don't go into this fucking room. It's my fucking room. It's my hunting room. There's heads and gross shit. So she goes in there, obviously. Why wouldn't you? If you're being told to stay out of a room, why not go in there?
I mean, especially if you're Olivia and you're like, all right, like, how much worse can you make me fucking? Like,
so, did you know that there's like a spy hole into the swan room?
Yep, there sure is. Behind a
who cares?
Portrait.
And
she knows the portrait is askew, and she's like, why is this portrait askew? And she was just trying to fix it, and it fell off the wall, and she's like, oh, someone dug out a goddamn hole.
There's like an eyeball-shaped glory hole for your glorious eyeballs to watch Garland and Alicia just going at it.
Like, did he make this as an adult, or like has he been watching? Like, was he watching his mom as a 5-year-old?
She's like, I got questions.
Ugh. But then she's like, I'll watch.
So she's like, I'm gonna watch. Obviously, I'm gonna watch. So they seem to really do it. Okay.
A lot. And I like it. They love each other.
So yeah, I mean, Garland's living. He's just an old rich guy, travels, relaxed as all get out because he's fucking all the time.
It's wicked cool.
And it's just cool, laid back.
Yeah, I love Garland.
We all want to be Garland. We want to be like a silver foxy kind of like... I also like to picture him eternally in like a clean but rumpled like safari shirt.
I picture him kind of like the Monopoly Man.
Oh, okay.
Like that sort of...
In a safari shirt.
No. With like a monocle somewhere tucked in a pocket for pulling out.
Okay.
Like, I love everything about him except for the grooming the child part.
Except for the grossness. He's great except for when he's gross. So...
We are led to believe, though, like, things didn't happen until she was of whatever proper age was at that time.
Of the time. That we don't
Still
know.
not excusing, but... It seems like he was
when
creepy
I was a
with
woman,
morals? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
You don't get... So why don't you... So, okay, let's test it. Why don't you go kiss a 14-year-old then?
I will not.
There we go. And I will not.
I will not.
So then he has a heart attack. Sorry. Garland dies.
Yeah, because it's Chris's 3rd birthday party. And they're, like, lavishing things on him. He's so bright and so soulful and wonderful. And there's a party.
Why is everyone dying on someone else's or their own birthday?
I don't fucking know. It's just a trend, you know?
That's what everyone's doing. If you are going to die, make it be on someone's birthday.
Holiday, something. Like, someone has to go through trouble.
There has to be an event where your death is, like, extra awful.
But before this happened, though, Alicia was like, it's wicked hot, Corinne. You want to go, like, dip in the lake?
Yes. And she's like,
no. I don't have a bathing suit. She's like, we can just go.
We're 2 ladies?
Like, let's just go swim. It's hot. And she was like, disgusting.
No.
Disgusting!
But then she notices, like, as Alicia walks to the lake, like, Malcolm pulls up, and then, is he following her? So, like, she goes and skulks behind. We're supposed to believe that this giantess of a woman is, like, hiding behind
Silently,
a singular leaf. Like,
she snaps not a twig.
Nope.
She rustles nary a leaf.
Even though she talks about how she is just a beast all the time. It's not the farthest thing from delicate you'll ever hear of or meet.
But she slips in the woods.
And then she watches, like, Malcolm's like, hey.
Nice naked.
Hey. And she's like, hey, no. I was just trying to swim. Get out of here. And
he's like, you obviously wanted me to come here.
And she's like, I fucking didn't. He's like, I'm hot too. Let me take off my clothes. And she's like, no. So, like, she is not interested in this dude. He's like, you're too pretty to be my dad's wife. You should be my wife.
She's like, no.
And then she ends up running away. Because she's, like, not into it. Like, she really does love this old guy. She's not interested in his shitty son.
We're setting the scene for Alicia to not wish to be with Malcolm. That is not at all foreshadowing, but it's very foreshadowing.
So the party ends, and Alicia's like, I'm going to go up and read a book. I'm going to go relax.
I'm gonna go chill.
And Olivia hears, like, a scream, and so she goes running. She busts open the door. She sees Alicia on the bed with, like, her slip torn up to her nip. And she sees, like, Garland clutch his chest and crumple to the floor. And Malcolm is fucking there, like, raged out with, like, a scratch on his face. And he's just like, hugging.
Oh, yeah.
And then they, like, call a doctor and they drag Garland's body into a room. But then the doctor showed up and he's like, he's fucking dead, you guys.
Hey. Did you just, like, tuck him into bed? Like, what are you doing? He's going, like, night-nights?
And Alicia's like, what? No.
So she breaks, like, yeah.
Poor little baby.
Poor little baby. And she's just shooketh and in mourning. And did they do the same thing that they did with Melody where they talked about her being ugly?
Yeah, they were like, oh my god, her hair stopped being lustrous. Her chestnut hair lost its shine.
Her chestiness.
And so Olivia's just like, you gotta fucking knock it off. These kids are gonna be depressed. You gotta stop fucking crying. Stop being weird. Get over yourself.
There's also, I don't remember when this guy was introduced, like this teacher.
Oh,
like
yeah, Simon Chillingworth. I actually wrote Simon Chillingworth, ellipses, facepalm emoji, because she was like, oh, they had a stern teacher. His name was Simon Chillingworth.
He teaches the boys up in the classroom. The end.
Yep.
And again, just stated, done.
Pretty much, yep.
So the kids are disposed of for when she skinny dips.
For that.
So Alicia is in mourning and she's so sad forever.
And then she's like, yeah, you know what? I will act myself some more. And then Olivia's like, I woke up in the night and did I hear a tippy tap sound? Like, what's going on? And she's like, I thought I heard her, like, crying, but it didn't sound like crying so much as, like...
Just noises.
Like, panicky, not cool. Like, pain crying, not sad crying.
So I spied on her through the spy hole.
So she knocked on the door and she's like, hey. And no one answered. And then, like, later, she's like, Alicia, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you being crazy again? And then she's like, dude, your husband just keeps raping me. And I don't... And she's like, well, clearly you're too pretty and it's your fault. And then she's like, no, like, seriously? And, like, he's threatened to hurt my son. And, like, I don't know what to do. And then she's like, why are you telling me this now? And she's like, 'cause I'm pregnant!
Rung, gong, gong. So I get this text message. It says, I swear to fucking God, if Malcolm is Corinne's father and Alicia is her mother, I'm just gonna, I don't know what you said.
Like, I'm gonna burn everything to the ground.
Yeah, and I was like, eh. And then it was like 30 minutes later, my phone starts ringing.
I was like, I threw the book. I threw the book!
Done. So that's just this extra layer of incest between Christopher and Corinne.
Yeah, because he was her half-uncle, but also her half-brother. Does that also make them cousin? I don't even know.
There you go. Mr. I am my own grandpa. So she's pregnant, and Olivia's like, God damn it. Now I have to do everything in this goddamn house.
I have to fucking scheme.
And she schemes good. She do a good scheme. She's like, all right, listen here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say you're going on a trip but you're going to go up into the bedroom in the north wing.
Yep.
Oh my God! The bedroom in the north wing! This is probably the only time someone's going to be shut up in that bedroom in the north wing.
Probably.
Because it has an adjoining bath.
Yep.
Said more than once in this book and in Flowers in the Attic. It's the only one with an adjoining bath. Mm-hmm. Every other bathroom...
They never talk about any other bathrooms, actually.
They do.
They do?
In the Swan bedroom. Because Elder Kathy has a supple tub.
Yeah.
She has a supple tub. A sup tub.
A sub tub.
So, and we're going to say that you're you're finding your life. You're going to find a job. You're going to find a home. Chris is going to stay here. He loves the boys. They're all besties. So you're going to leave him. And she's like, I can't leave him. And she's like, I can't let him go. You're going to go hide away and be pregnant. And I'm going to pad my stomach. And this baby's going to be, I'm going to raise it. Mm-hmm. You know, this is what's going to happen. I'm stealing your child.
Because Malcolm wants another kid, and he's sure that it's going to be a girl.
So finally there's a lot of, like, tearfulness and cajoling, and Olivia being like, well, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been so pretty. Like, that bugged me. Like, they are victim-blaming to the gods.
So what's great, / oof, is that she's like, Alicia. She's like, what's going to keep Malcolm from sneaking in to rape you? And she's like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? And she's like, you need to cut all your goddamn hair off.
Yep.
Pre-shadowing.
Yeah, no, Olivia loves to chop hair off.
She shore it to the ugly.
Yeah, like, made it uneven on purpose.
And she was like, oops.
And she's also, like, before she got this room ready for Alicia, she, like, went up to the attic and was like, you know what would be good on these walls? Pictures of hellfire and devils, because this poor young girl got raped by my husband, and it's her fault.
Alicia's like, where are my things? And she's like, you can wear my things. And she's like, this shit is ugly. And she's like, no one is going to look at you. Be ugly. Be ugly for once.
Like me.
But, Olivia also needs her maternity stuff with her pillows.
Yeah.
Her fake pregnancy pillows.
She just apparently flits around the house every once in a while to find cushions of various sizes. Like, whoop, that's a 3-month cushion.
Yep.
Like, okay.
So she's hidden away, and Olivia won't let her be pretty. Because why? Wait, what do you need to be pretty for?
It's your vanity that got you here.
And then she's progressing, and Alicia goes banana pants, doesn't she?
Bananas, yeah. She's like, one time Olivia went in there to, like...
She's like, we're on the cruise, isn't it lovely?
Yeah, she's like, I went in there to feed her, and she was just, like, pretending to be in a car with Christopher, who wasn't in the room. And she would, like, refer to me as, like, the waitress. Yeah. And then she's like, what's that, waitress? Oh. She said, there's no more ice cream. Don't worry, we'll get some at the park. And, like, everything was just, like, a fantastical. And Olivia's like, you gotta fucking knock it off, dude. You are too
I know,
crazy.
she's like, I'm gonna wear you the fuck down, but can you not be crazy?
Yeah! I know. Like, oh, God.
So what's great is when Olivia goes to tell Malcolm what's going on, and she's like, what do you mean? She's like, no, you did actually rape her because I watched you from your game room. He's like, don't go in there. And she's like, oh, I went in there. I went, and I saw what you see. And here's the plan, and this is what we're doing. And also, you know what? I hate Mr. Chillingworth. He's fired. And that's what I say.
The kids are going off to school.
They're going to public school.
And we're firing all of the servants. Every single one. We're giving them 2 years' salary.
Which in this time is $15. I don't know. She was just like, you know what? Fuck you. I run this bitch. I know your secrets. I know what you do. I know everything. And now I have all the power. And we're going to hire my cousin John Anus as a butler.
That's way later, too.
I thought that was... Okay, fine.
It's okay.
So she, like, has her... She's, like, coming into her power. Her power to say, fuck you.
Her pussy power.
Ooh, woof. Her dusty old pussy power.
Granite pussy.
Oh, it's like a rock, like a facade with, like, a giant crack.
Giant crack.
Okay.
Giant crack.
So then the baby's just born. Done.
Yep. It's right around Christmas, right before... And, like, Olivia, it has to, like, pretend be in labor in her room. Just yelling to no one.
Just yelling.
yelling to no one. And then she just gets, like, handed the baby later, and she's like, holy shit, this baby's fucking dope. Like,
This is the most beautiful baby.
Ever. Peaches and cream complexion.
Ugh. Creamy. She's like, I loved this baby so hard. She was like, which again, props to Olivia. And she was like, this is my adopted child, but I love it with my whole heart, and you are my daughter.
Yeah, but also, she was an asshole to poor Alicia.
But also, she stole a baby.
Yeah. I actually wrote, Olivia's fucking psycho, why you gotta love to hate so much. And also, victim blaming. Man, do they love it. And also, what the actual fuck. That's what I wrote after I found out that
And then
Alicia's really Corinne's mother.
And then after that, they go off. Christopher and Alicia have to leave for some reason.
They can't fucking be there. Yeah, and that was sad because Olivia didn't get to say goodbye to Christopher, and she, like, really did adore him.
Again with the caring and the love.
I know, but it doesn't track. Like, it's so conflicted because I'm like, you say you give a shit, and then you act like what? Just locking ladies in bedrooms
like
and
a
being
psycho.
like, well, it's your fault, even though I clearly saw you on more than one occasions, like, not want to be into it with my husband.
And when she's like laying down the law, Malcolm's like, she seduced me at the lake, and she's like, and then you Megan did, and I was skulking
I hid behind a leaf, a singular leaf.
to hide my giant form, all 7 feet of me. So, like VC likes to do, is she likes to use chirins to show the passage of time. Mm-hmm. And I wrote down this phrase: Corinne grew more pleasing. Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh. The sexualization of this child from birth.
And Malcolm's obsessed with her.
Oh.
He dotes on her.
My God.
He throws a giant Christmas party, like,
when she's like
days after she was born, and like, oh my God, the baby never even cries. She's perfect. And also, like, like, bitches be talking shit about Olivia, but she's like just skulking behind their like little like circles, and then she like busts in and she's like, yeah, you ain't all that either, and then like flits away, and they're like, oh my God, what a bitch. I lived for that. Because she was just like, someone else said that someone was old, and she's like, oh, were there cameras back when you were a girl, though? Bye. I really liked that one.
She kind of like she's just a bitch for her own amusement. Same. So there's that. So Corinne is ever pleasing, and that's a gross way to describe a child.
And she gets to sit at the table, like, immediately.
She immediately gets to sit at the table.
Oh, because they hire a lady to teach her, like, manners and stuff.
Oh, yeah. And Malcolm's like, boys don't need to learn this, but women do.
Yep. Because the boys couldn't sit at the table until they were 5. But
Yes,
Corinne first came down to
and
dinner.
diction and manners.
Yep. When she was 3.
And the piano. And Olivia's like, what the fuck piano? And he's like, this is a womanly pursuit. Piano. Yeah, so it's gross. It's if we want to talk about grooming,
Yeah.
yes, like talk about a man grooming his daughter to have sex with her eventually, maybe, probably.
I'm not gonna lie, that was absolutely gonna happen if
things hadn't happened. So I think the next event that happens is Mal gets his little motorcycle.
Yeah, Corinne's like 13 at this point. They
12,
talk
13,
about
yeah.
how, like, oh my God, she's like so beautiful.
She's so ripe. Ugh.
Everyone loves her, flecks and gold, cerulean eyes, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, one day, Malcolm's riding up on a motorcycle.
He's like, I got a motorcycle.
Part of the deal, Olivia said, was like, oh, and also, after we fire all the servants and give them money, whatever, you're going to put $1 million in trust for each of our kids.
For when they turn 18.
For when they turn 18, so they have their own money and they don't have to live under your thumb. And he's like, what? And
yeah, and she's like, I'm watching out for my kids. Like, go girl.
Yeah, for real. But also,
So many things. You're like, go girl, you're a fucking psycho.
yeah. Yes.
It's the dichotomy of Olivia. Now I don't know, do I like you or do I hate you?
I think I hated her more because of, like, the things that were redeeming about her. And I'm like, why can't you lean into this? Like,
She didn't have the Sheryl Sandberg. She didn't know how to lean in.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. So we'll get it. So Mal gets a motorbike. Woo!
On the day that Corinne becomes in a womanly way, she's like running through the garden. Mama, I'm in a womanly way.
And she's like, oh, yes. And it's like, cool.
But Olivia at first is like, what? Like, she panics, and I think she probably thinks, like, oh my God, her dad got her pregnant. And she's like, I got my period. I'm a woman now. She's like, okay, well, hey, being a woman and in a womanly way, those are different, FYI. And then she's like, tell me all about love. Were you so, like, head over heels with I bet you were mad about daddy. And she's like,
Sure.
love's complicated and stuff. And
She was like, relation status, it's complicated.
and then she's like, and then I saw a cloud pass over her face. She was getting a cramp. And I was like, see, being a woman kind of sucks. And then she's like, whatever, Mom, it passed. Tell me more about love.
A cloud of crampiness passed over her face.
The cramp cloud got her in the eyes. And then...
So Mal rides up. He's like, I got a fucking motorcycle. Woo! And Corinne's like, I want to ride. And she's like, I don't think so.
She's like, you're a lady. You can't get on this.
And then she's like, is like so beautifully begging.
She's like, oh my God, my please.
And she's like, eh.
And Mal's like, seriously, I'll just like go to we're not riding around. I'm going to give her a ride to the end of the driveway.
Which is a very long driveway.
And then
it's fine.
She can walk back and it'll be cool. And she's like, you know what? Your dad would hate this shit, so go ahead. And then like as they ride off, and she's like, oh, they looked so dashing together. He had like a long scarf, like a pilot from the Great War, she said. A long silken scarf. And Malcolm comes lurking out, and he's just like, what the fuck was that I just hear?
And he comes...
And many times they talk about like his face contorted into a thing I never saw before, and it was the most rage ever. Like, I want to know about these levels. Like, how does it get worse from the worst?
I was gonna say at each time it's worse. Like, is the bar like this is the most angry, and all other faces were not the most angry?
I guess so. You just find a new angry face every time.
One in my back pocket.
Yep.
So, yeah, he was not pleased.
And he was like, how dare you let my daughter gallivant? And she's like, whatever. Like, fuck off.
She was like, our daughter.
And they're like, see, she's coming up now. And they're like, she's so excited. She's running. Oh, no, wait, what? Wait, she's panicking. What? And then she's like, oh, no, it's Mal. And they're like, what? So apparently, like, Mal, she got off the bike at the end of the driveway. And then Mal just, like, immediately drove off a cliff. The cliffs that are conveniently around Foxworth Hall sometimes. Sometimes. Not in the middle of the night when, four children and a mom are trekking up.
Nope.
That just really seemed like they just walked there along like a long... Yeah. But,
he immediately drives off a cliff.
And like, it, like, blows
Burst
up.
into
There's, like,
flames.
fire. Yeah.
He is driving actually like a Pinto motorbike. So it's made out of, like, flint. And he blows up immediately. Yeah. And now Joel has to be number one son.
And he's like, I fucking hate being number one son. This sucks.
Sucks ass.
Ugh. I hate this. And Olivia's like, holy shit. Well, that sucks. Like, he was really cool. And now poor Joel doesn't have, like, a buffer between him and Malcolm, who's psycho, and he doesn't like Joel, because Joel never, like, lost his frailness. But he was always super kind.
His lady style, which is being nice.
Yep.
And being artsy.
Mm-hmm. And
so much like a woman.
Yep. And then
I think Joel's like 17, and he's like, I want to go away to perform. And
yeah, he gets invited to be
Olivia's like, go girl.
Yeah, he gets invited to be part of like this orchestra that's going to travel Europe, and Malcolm's like, no, bleh. Like, he's not going to have any of my money. And then, like, Joel's just standing there with his suitcases. And he was like, yeah, by the way, I don't care. I was coming down to tell you this myself. Mom, you want to walk me out later? And then, like...
immediately dies.
Yeah, like, well, she keeps showing Malcolm, like, look at all these cutouts from, like, this orchestra. And, like, your son's so blah. And he's like, ah. And then they get a telegram that was like, hey, avalanche. His body's lost.
So I wrote down for my notes, because Olivia is like... she's like... I was frozen. I was all cried out from Mal. And so I wrote, Joel's such an afterthought, he doesn't even get tears, LOL.
Wow. But then when they get the actual letter of like a dead, like, yeah, we're just calling it dead for sure, then she cried. She's like, then I found the crying.
It was a wild, but she was just like, so I just did in the funeral. And I was like, well, I'm not going to cry with this one. And I was like, oh, Joel, I'm sure, hope you don't come back as a creepy old man.
Yeah. I want to talk about that for a second. Like, how the frig did young boy Joel turn into asshole Joel? Because he wasn't into, like...
Religion.
I guess.
He gets into religion.
But also, like, just the fact that... I don't know that he was so, like, ugh, and, like, my sister.
Hold on. Are you telling me something, a plot point in a V.C. Andrews book doesn't track? Doesn't match up exactly?
All right.
So he pieced out, and Corinne's there, and she's growing up. But they get a creamy envelope.
Pink perfumed envelope.
Oh, boy.
Just as they get one later. A pink perfumed envelope from Alicia, who's like,
I have breast cancer, I'm dying.
hey, I remarried a guy and it's stuff. I got breast cancer, I'm gonna die.
He's cool. He loves Chris. He's a doctor, but, like, he's a doctor.
He died, too.
He died.
Yeah.
I'm dying. You gotta take care of Chris.
Yeah, Chris really wants to go to medical school. He's amazing. Like, you were always so good to him. Please let him come back. And Olivia's like, all right, let's do this. And so then, like, a month after she dies, something like that. Like, John Anus went to
Retrieve him.
And,
Oh, yeah. So I think during when the boys die is when John Anus comes to live as a butler. She's like, I'm gonna hire you on as a butler so that Malcolm doesn't say anything.
yeah, but she's like, but you're going to be my eyes and ears, and we're going to do Bible all the time.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, but cool. Let's also, maybe the Bible will help your grief. And she's like, maybe it will help my grief. So that's when she starts Bibling, like on the hardcore Bibling.
And he gets Malcolm to go Bibling too.
Not yet.
Yeah, he does.
Not yet. Not. So 17-year-old strapping, perfect Chris Sr. arrives and locks eyes with 14-year-old Corinne.
Stops halfway down the stairs.
And their fucking genitals throb through their clothes at each other.
Yep. It's palpable. The
Oh, they palpate each other. Oh, it's so fucking gross. I don't like it so much.
But Olivia's like, they're just children.
They are children, and they're innocent.
They're innocent children.
Oh, man. At this time, she believed in the innocence of childhood.
She did. And John Anus is like, they spend too much time together. And she's like, whatever. Like, she lost her brothers. And, like,
they're cool.
They're family. And he looks out for her. Like, I made it clear. Like, I know you guys are close in age, but he's your uncle and you're his niece.
Or brother and sister. Or brother and fucking sister.
And or. Both. They really are.
Ipso facto, brother, sister.
Like, she was shocked one time Corinne referred to him as Chris, and she's like, I told her never to shorten a Christian name of someone older than her. And I was like, is that a thing?
It's a thing?
That's a thing.
That was when I notated, Chris is so perfect. Because he's, like, perfect in school. He's perfect in activities.
Perfect at business. Malcolm loves him.
At business. But he has no interest. He really wants to be a doctor. Yep. And Malcolm's like, all right, buddy, maybe we'll get you on team business someday. And they're just like joshing. Mm-hmm. And he goes on to like college. And Corinne goes away to a high school. Mm-hmm. That's like, it's like really close to Chris's college. It's like really close to Chris's college.
And it's great. They hang out sometimes.
Just like sometimes they visit. So she's like, I'm bummed that I don't see my family, but like I feel real proud of these kids. And like, fucking I'm so proud of these kids. Like, they're great people, and that's what I have to give to this world. Again, you're with Olivia for a hot fucking second here. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't remember who graduated. Chris or Corinne?
Chris graduated from...
college to go to med school.
Yeah, like to go to... He was going to go to Yale, I think, afterwards. I don't know.
So there's like a graduation that they go to, and Corinne says like, oh, we went to something, and she's like, what, you guys like... do stuff together, like on the reg? Yep. And they're like, I guess so.
Oh, right, too, because they were somewhere at, I think it was Chris's graduation. Yeah. And then Malcolm was like, hey, let's all go do this stuff. And Corinne's like, I'm so tired from stuff. I'm just going to hang out you know what? You guys should be the graduates. Like, I think they both graduated from, like, their respective things that were close to each other. So
you
like,
go, and us two young folks will go back to hotel rooms.
We're just going to sleep. Because we're exhausted from the weekend. So you guys go be young and have fun. And then they're back at the house. Because Corinne, I think, had she convinced Malcolm to give her the swan room?
She has the swan room. Yeah. Whether she convinces him or it just comes with the name.
Just keeps going in there, yeah.
If it comes with the name, I think. So.
Right, yeah.
I don't even remember was this a discovery thing? Or was it an announcement thing?
No, it was definitely a discovery thing. Like, I feel like, though, it was like a wicked dumb time of day. It was just like 2 PM or some shit.
That's when you discover things. A dumb time would be like after breakfast.
No.
Oh, okay. We have...
Well, no, because, like, Olivia was like, oh, like, something weird was going on behind the door. I heard rustling, so I opened it. And Christopher was kissing Corinne's exposed breasts. And then, like, she, like, slammed the door, but somehow they didn't hear. Because apparently people in this book series can just, like, not notice that someone's watching
when
them
you're in
fuck.
the throes, when you are in the throes,
Watching.
you don't know.
And then she's like, ah, shit. And then John Amos shows up and he's like, what? And like, he opens the door. He's like, ah, shit.
I told you.
Ah! And they say, like, they were, like, together, like only a husband and wife should be. So, like, well, fine. And then she's just like, okay, get dressed and come down to your father's study in 15 minutes. And so she goes down.
We'll talk about the incest later.
And she's like, Malcolm, brace yourself. And, like, he thinks, like, oh, God, which one died again? He's like, not the children. Yeah, not the children, but not the children in a different way that you're thinking. And so they come down, they're all, like, rumpled and, like, so...
and shamefaced from
we
sexing.
have been in love since, like, the first day. And we weren't doing anything about it because we knew we couldn't, but, like...
We did.
But we just did. And...
It was the first time.
And he was like, get the fuck out of my house. And they're like, all right, bye. Because Corinne's like, Dad, no, seriously, like, we're in love. And he was a gentleman. And, like, we want to stay here and raise babies. And he's like, no, your babies will have hooven tails.
Hooven
and shit."
hooves.
And that was what reminds me. They are the devil spawn because fucking Malcolm is the devil. And he started all of this by raping Alicia and getting her pregnant with secret Corinne baby. They are all the spawn of the devil that is Malcolm and his lustful, horrible, prideful dickness.
Wow.
So yeah, they just like walked
I have
off
no
into the night.
response to that.
They just like left. It didn't seem like they left with anything at all.
They're like, all right, I guess we're going to go. And he's like, leave now, forever.
And then he was like, oh, and he just like screams.
And then he like breaks, and then John Anis takes him, like, he like studies the Bible with him to like process this grief.
The same night that they leave, he screams and then has a stroke and a heart attack at the same time. Boof, out. John Anis helped him with the religion like after both the sons died.
Okay.
And
It really gets like turned up to 11 after they leave. The religion.
Olivia just like leaves him in the hospital for months and he's like, please bring me home. And then she's like,
I don't really like you.
get better. And then she's like, I would wheel him next to me so he could watch me do the business. Ha ha.
Also loving it.
Loving it.
Loving
One
it.
of my notes was, my last note was, okay, so I do actually love Shady to Malcolm Olivia.
Can't deny it.
Right?
It's true.
So, this is just their life now.
Yeah, 2 years in, Malcolm has regained most of his speech. Apparently, the stroke gave him like a weird grin for the rest of his life.
A rictus.
And so 2 years in, he was just like, please hire a private investigator.
Yes!
Find out
just
what
need
they're
to
doing.
know.
Like, I need to know. Like, I miss my kid. And
I just don't want them to have deformed devil babies.
I need to know. And so Olivia and John Innes, they hire this guy, and he does find
He finds him quick. He's
In a
like,
month, yeah.
He was like, well, they thought they were being clever, but they really are not. And I found them because they're beautiful. I found
Yeah.
them because they're so beautiful and flaxen. Basically.
And, like, they have a son, and, like, they named him Christopher, and
She's pregnant again.
then, like, and the kid's perfect and really bright, and Olivia's like, no, this can't be the same ones, though, because...
No. They're going to have deformed gross babies.
Because it's like, they're gonna have, like, a messed up kid.
That's when you get the genetics that
Right.
close together, right? And he's like, beautiful.
He's like, no,
Beautiful
for real.
baby.
Like, I saw pictures, and also, yeah, they look like their brother and sister.
They do look like their brother and sister, but it is noted. I found them so easily because it was noted in the record that they are beautiful and look alike. So the record of time. So
And
yes.
she prego again.
So basically, and I forgot this was just kind of like thrown out there at the end of Flowers, where they were like, yeah, he's been tracking you forever. So like that was the setup for that. So they know the whole time. So they are known.
Well, she never tells Malcolm that she found them. She does not share with him at all. Like, he doesn't know that she has kids.
I must have
That's what she says. Like she's like, I'm gonna sit with this information.
gonna use it to my advantage when I need to.
Exactly. And then, like, she keeps getting him, she's like, keep following them, stay on it. And so she finds out about Kathy. She finds out about the twins. And then one day...
A creamy envelope.
Pink perfumed envelope. The creamy ones come from Foxworth Hall. The pink perfumed ones arrive at Foxworth Hall.
I couldn't get the creamy and the perfumedness.
Yeah, it's okay. A creamy perfume. Parfum de crème.
Ugh.
And so Olivia's reading Corinne's letter that's
know.
just like, hey, Chris died on his birthday. But she says his 35th birthday, and I could have sworn that it was his 36th birthday in flowers.
Shocking. Shocking. A technical error.
And so she's like, yeah, cool, whatever, but your dad can't know. And you get to come onto the cover of Night.
So here's what I wrote at the end. And this is where I was done with it again. Because I was with Shady Bitchy Olivia. Mm-hmm. And she was like, well... She forced me to be the captor of her children, and then bloops, I'm drained to love. Yeah. Done. All right.
Doesn't make
You could have just cut her some checks on the down low.
Yeah, or been like, hey, like, plus she also knew that Malcolm, like, would have, she keeps talking about how, like, oh, if he knew that he had grandchildren, he would have wanted to meet them, and he would have fallen in love with them, and that's just, like, devil, and it's like, dude, it's just mental, like... She talks about how much she, like, immediately, like, felt love for them. And, like, they were beautiful.
I steeled myself.
And then I would locked the door and left. Like,
I'm drained of love now. The end. I'm just going to be evil now.
Crazy.
Done. So, the fucking end.
The fucking end. Another afterthought I had. Like,
yes, you had some
So, you know, Malcolm was a dick. And John Amos did not enjoy Malcolm. He thought he was an asshole. But then, like, why in the third book is he like... Bart, you gotta be just like this asshole guy who was the worst. Like, John Amos was not about money, and then he was like, you need to be a businessman. Like,
I'm gonna say probably because conflict drives plot.
All right. But it's just weird, because, like, yeah, like, John Amos was kind of
Are you looking for consistency?
I'm just poking holes in the net that is already full of holes.
It's like a Swissy cheesy event.
Yeah. I'm just bringing stuff up.
I didn't think about that. I think there just needed to be, like, an evil old guy. There's always an evil old guy.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really track with Joel. There just needs to be an evil old guy.
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Is the villain really just Foxworth Hall?
Also, Olivia told John Amos that Corinne and Christopher were half-brother as well as half-brother, sister, as well as half-niece, uncle. I'm surprised he didn't say that to Bart later on. Like, it never comes back. Like,
probably because they hadn't written it yet.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was written at the end.
Prequel.
Yep. But either way, like, if you already wrote the other stuff, maybe don't make that a plot point. Like, or just don't have Olivia tell him. Like,
you could just not write that. So that's the garden of webs, of seeds and toes that we have here. We have plowed the garden. Oof, I regret immediately saying that sentence.
I'm leaving.
Leaving my own attic. That's
I actually gotta stay here, right?
That's the story of the Foxyworthy Dollangangers. And perhaps nothing. Nothing.
I am gonna read the other ones, like the weird diary ones.
There are weird diary prequel-y ones that are like written from Chris's point of view.
Yeah, but then there's another one called The Secret Brother, and I'm like, oh, what else is there? Like, is that gonna be like Joel being like in the Alps? Or is it gonna be like, there's some seed sprung off somewhere else? And
see, this is where they get you.
I know.
This is where they get people. This is where they get
Not
people.
me or you.
Oh, we've been gotten.
Been got.
We've been gotten.
110 got.
Well, I got no snappy ending because that's just how it ends.
Yeah, she's like, I locked the door.
Peace.
It's just mental because you're like, no, but you like that, but you always wanted to have a loving fit. What are you fucking doing? Like I feel bad, but I'm also like, you're an idiot. Like, I feel bad, but I don't feel bad. You make sense sometimes and you're badass, but then like you're fucking psycho.
Was it religion? I mean, couldn't she have just like left them up there and let them have a good time? You know, a good life. You could have cut Corinne checks secretly on the. That would have been like easy peasy lemon squeezy with your own money from your own dad. You could have just cut her monthly stipends.
Yep.
You could have accepted Corinne and her children into the North Room and made it lovely and nice. Insulate the attic. Make it livable. Give him a whole space.
Or actually tell Malcolm that he's got grandkids because you know that he'd be thrilled. And, like, I get that she doesn't want, like, she's like, oh, but I can't give him, he can't
win.
He can't, like, have pleasure in, like, the evil that he has brought unto us. And it's like, yeah, but that already fucking happened. Like, dude, get over yourself. Ugh.
So we heartily recommend the Dollanganger series. If you are looking for something to read. To
throw across the room.
The amount of throwing will increase book to book.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't throw to the last book. Because they had mentioned something about, like, Alicia wringing her hands, and I was like, oh, like, fingering the pearls. I was like, God. And that's when I sent you that text. I was like, I swear to God.
I swear to God, if major plot point is major plot point.
Like, I knew.
No.
I don't believe, but I
You can check your local library for Flowers in the Attic, and they'll probably have it, but they probably won't have any of the other ones, so you're going to have to hit the internet. Enjoy. They're books. Great. Who knows? But they are reading.
Yeah, thank you for going on this journey with us through the Dollanganger series.
Yes, I think that this series is going to wholly stand out, and no other V.C. Andrews books are going to be like this one.
On that note, we will be continuing our podcast following the Castile family next. Those books. They're also 4 or 5, something like that.
They're all about 4 or 5.
Yeah. And
stay tuned.
Stay tuned for a whole different telling of a same story.
Oh,
or a whole same telling of a same telling of a same story. I don't know. Stay tuned for sames and differences.
Okay, I love you. Bye.
I love you, dear listener. Thanks for listening to VC's Pieces podcast. Hope you enjoyed it.
Technical support was provided by Boo and Matt. Thank you for answering all of my stupid questions.
Music is Dust in My Attic by Broke MC, used under a Creative Commons license.
Stay tuned for more episodes released hopefully regularly. In the meantime, have a powdered donut, tend those evil seeds, and try to control yourself at the next family function.